title, prophet.
Hamdulillah.
Prophet. Yes, Paul Nathaniel Johnson. 1919, yes. And as always, I'm ever thankful to know him and his teachings. And the past almost 8 years has been more to enrich my life and my relationship with our ancestors. Yes. So when Sheikh Amsi asked me to speak, and I was for a week or so, I didn't know, like, what am I going to speak about? Because, it was truthfully, it was honestly, sitting there and listening to High Sheikh Abdullah, and listening to our Sheikh Amsi, and listening to their message, I was like, oh, what can I bring, because their message is so complete, so full, and so full of food for life. And I was like, I don't know, but I will do my best, to bring some to share with you. All right? So thank you, Ms. Aguinaldo, for this opportunity. So today, idea that came to me is as I was reading our gospel, where the Holy Fahami Rasul was talking about the nature of the African. And I said, okay, let me speak about this, because I know my teacher, initiator of into Fahami science, the High Priest Pitara, used to say that you can take one line from the gospel, from the Holy Fahami gospel, and you can write volumes on it, just explaining the teachings of our Rasul. So, with that in mind, I said, okay, let me do this lecture, and I call this lecture the nature of the Ethiopian.
Okay.
Yes. One second. The nature of the Ethiopian man. Basma Billahi Rahman Rahim. The nature of the Ethiopian man. What is nature? Fahami science teaches us that nature is all energy that penetrates through the body of man. Energy is the word the Western nation used to describe what the Ethiopians call the unseen spirit. The Holy Fahami Gospel, or Divine Understanding, the Al-Qiyam, the Book of Qiyam, a revealed book prepared for the Ethiopians by the Honorable Prophet of Amun-Ra, Paul Nathaniel Johnson, B.A., in 1943, defines the nature of the Ethiopians as follows. It is among the Africans that mankind find the give and take in all things. This is not a habit that has been acquired or adopted, but it is their natural heritage. Being the first and oldest races of man, they have known and experienced all that the rest of mankind is learning in a social sense. It would be well for all to understand this attitude and not misunderstand it for a tacit admission of their supremacy over the African. For the most humble never really admits that he is inferior, even when he says so. That is the psychology of the sense of man. So this morning, we are just going to focus on the above two sentences from the declaration of our Fahami prophet, which says it's among the Africans or the Ethiopians that mankind finds the give and take in all things. This is not a habit that has been acquired or adopted, but it is their natural heritage. What is this give and take in all things? That is the Ethiopian natural heritage. Before we go into it, let us view this clip from the BBC I have prepared about the wasp, the ant, and the blue butterfly. It's a very short clip, about 4 or 5 minutes, to help us understand what is made by natural heritage or inborn quality or inborn awareness or consciousness. As you view the clip, please pay close attention to the inborn quality of the blue butterfly, the inborn intelligence or natural heritage of the wasp, and the natural heritage of the ants. Okay? So it is. Okay, this is blue butterfly. It's only like 5 minutes, and we will go back. I saw it and I said, that would help me.
They're bigger and a different colour. The caterpillars even mimic the sound the ants make when they beg for food, so workers dutifully feed and clean them. The caterpillars even mimic the sound the ants make when they beg for food.
I guess started.
They're bigger and a different colour.
Give me 1 second, I just want you to remind very quick.
The caterpillars.
There you go.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go. This is the blue butterfly.
Here she lays her eggs. The caterpillars, when they hatch, stay feeding on the junction for a couple of weeks. But eventually, they fall to the ground. There are ants everywhere in a meadow like this, and they soon find it. It smells just like one of their own larvae, and they start to haul it back to where one of their larvae should be, in their nest. Other foragers from the same nest have found another. During the next few weeks, as many as half a dozen may be taken back to the nest. Here, they are hauled down to the nursery chambers and put with the ants' other eggs and larvae. And because the caterpillars continue to produce a pheromone exactly like that produced by the young ants themselves, they're treated as if they were young ants, even though they're bigger and a different colour. The caterpillars even mimic the sound the ants make when they beg for food, so workers dutifully feed and clean them.
So the ants will take care of them.
You might think that this caterpillar has protected itself very well by deceiving these ants. But life in the undergrowth is full of surprises.
This is the wasp now.
An inhuman wasp. It too, like the blue butterfly, wants to get its young into an ant's nest. But not merely as lodgers, it has a more sinister intention. Somehow or other, in a meadow full of ants' nests, it can detect which one harbours a butterfly caterpillar, and this, it decides, is one of those. Once inside, the ants start to attack it, as you might expect, but then the ants' behaviour changes. There's pandemonium. The wasp has released a pheromone that makes the ants attack one another.
fighting one another, and he can go and grease them.
With the defenders fighting among themselves, the wasp is able to go deeper into the nest. It's reached the nursery, and here lie the caterpillars. Now they are defenseless. The wasp sets about injecting each of them with an egg.
His
A
own
few
egg.
ants do their best to prevent this, but there is no real opposition.
They're still busy too.
While most of the ants continue to fight among themselves, the wasp finds a second caterpillar. Another egg is laid.
Yes.
The wasp leaves. With the wasp gone, the ant colony slowly returns to normal. The caterpillars are still there, alive and apparently well, and the ants continue to care for them. Once the caterpillars are fully grown, each starts to construct the chrysalis, which all butterflies need as a protection while they turn themselves into adults. Each chrysalis is cleaned and protected by the ants as if it were one of their own pupae.
Wow.
One begins to hatch. Out of it comes, yes, a blue butterfly.
Yes.
It leaves its foster home. Out in the open, its limp wings can expand. And now it's ready to flutter and flirt just as its parents did. And the ants are still bewitched by the traces of pheromone clinging to the empty shell the butterfly leaves behind. But there are still others in the nest, as yet unhatched. And out of this one comes not a butterfly, but a wasp. Hardwired into the microscopic brain of this ordinary-looking insect are a whole series of skills, sensitivities and reactions that will enable it, in its turn, to give its own offspring a special start in life. It can detect what the ants themselves find undetectable. It can tell the difference between an ant larva and the butterfly larva. What is more, in a meadow of 100 ants' nest, it will be able to find the one that contains the butterfly caterpillar. How it does it, we have no idea. So it's...
Okay. Yes. So, so we watched that to, I showed that to see the natural intelligence, all right? The inborn consciousness that they are born with. So, my question to you is the wasp evil? Or was she using her inborn quality from her creator? How about the blue butterfly? How about the ants? Do we say the ants were fools or stupid or inferior to be used by the blue butterfly or the wasp? I say no. They were acting according to their nature. Their inborn wisdom and intelligence as deposited into their spiritual brain by their creator. In fact, our new Ethiopian culture called Fahami The essence of culture and religion is to construct society to reflect and enhance all of the godlike qualities within the African man and woman. In revealing true culture and religion, the Holy Fahami Prophet of Amun-Ra discloses how far from the true meaning and understanding of both culture and religion we have strayed. True culture and religion are the result of a people's ability to develop and perfect the traits of the Creator that they possess and incorporate into their daily lives. This developed trait and characteristics, meaning powers and abilities, are the blueprint for the advance and maintenance of their civilization. Thus, this is culture revealed, and thus, this is religion revealed. Yes. The new Ethiopian culture must contain the plan or blueprint to guide and direct the growth and development of the talents, potentials, and abilities that the Ethiopian babies and children have been imbued with. Our future Fahami educational institution must create for ourselves, must move in that direction. Our future schools for our babies must include meditational classes and techniques to help them develop this inborn quality and trait and characteristics they possess. Yes. So returning to our subject, what is the nature of the black man? It is the innate consciousness of harmony the Ethiopians are born with. As our enlightened prophet of Amun-Ra, the Rasul, instruct the race as communicated to us by our illustrious Sheikh Amsi through his lectures. The Holy Fahami says, and I quote, "The Ethiopians must appeal to that power in them which comes from their innate consciousness, the source of the sense of harmony. When it is effective, meaning perfected, this power will be the reason for genius. For it's a creative thought, creative in a sense that it works ahead of the known." Okay? So what was saying is, when this inner calmness is inner harmony, our nature, when we perfected it, not only we can even see the future. We can see things, even our enemies, before they do it, we see it, and we can prepare in advance. All right? Yes. He says, the saying that works ahead of the known. In fact, there is a stela of Pharaoh Entef carved by our noble ancestors of Kem or Ethiopia thousands of years ago that reflect the above point. It says, and I quote, "I am silent in the face of anger, a patient man with the ignorance, liking to calm quarrels. I am he who shows himself in conflict and who knows, and better to avoid them, the words that provoke anger." And this is what it says, "I am tranquil. I am tranquil, free from impulses, who knows what is ordained to happen and awaits it serenely. I am master of myself. I am kind and friendly. I calm those who weep with words of comfort," and etc. Okay, that is a stela that our ancestors carved and left for us. And So when you say, I am tranquil, free from impulses, who knows what is ordained to happen and awaits its ceremony. So this is our priestly knowledge. Our priestess and priest of Cam, our noble ancestor, have perfected that ability to stay calm and harmony to the point where they see the future and prepare for the future. Yes. To be at peace when faced with the greatest life challenges, despite the protest of your habitual impulses, will allow the soul force of the Ethiopian to operate undisturbed by the lower emotions so that it can control, direct, and will the course of any and all event in the world. And that is the new way, which was a right of power given to the Holy Fahami Rasul to introduce a new course of action, that is to develop or open new field as a man or marked initial of Venus and Mercury. The Holy Fahami Rasul was charged to bring about this new way of life to the great Ethiopian race. Fahami Sabah. Yes. Once again, in order to understand the African natural heritage, we are going to see another short video, okay? A second clip about the equator and the north and south torrid zones of our planet, which inform us, in my humble view, how the geographical foundation of the Africans energetically or spiritually influences their natural heritage and philosophy of life. In his 1930s revelation of the philosophy of the Ethiopian race, the Holy Fahami Rasul said, and I quote, "The philosophy of the Ethiopian or the darker races strike directly at the root of things."
Yes.
A dual logic, so to speak. And this triad should be developed. The black man's way of seeing and expressing ideas and things need not be left to scorn. We must develop every superstition of our folklore into a science, making it practical and useful. And Ethiopia shall go hand in hand with God. Amen. Let's go ahead and watch this little clip, and we will discuss it, how it is connected.
Talk to her.
Alexa, bring YouTube. YouTube. It's just like a 2 minutes video quickly.
So we're on the northern side of the equator.
Okay, this is the equator.
There is the north of the equator.
This experiment took place in the equator line in Africa. I think it's in Tanzania. The equator that builds crosses our planet. Okay, so in this experiment shows that there's the equator line, and when you go to the north and the south hemisphere, the energy changes accordingly. This is a science experiment they did to show that. So,
Again, clockwise.
in the northern hemisphere, above the equator, anti-clockwise.
Yeah.
So you see, when you put the flower is moving in the northern hemisphere
Yeah.
anti-clockwise.
But morning.
Clockwise, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, clockwise, yes. This is the northern hemisphere.
So the northern hemisphere,
Yes.
water's done. Alright, that's good.
Now they're going to pass the equator. That line right there, this is the equator.
Cross the south.
Now they go to the south hemisphere. And this is the south hemisphere. To see how the energy moves in the south hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere. And the energy moves
Counterclockwise.
counterclockwise. So now they're going to go on the exact point of the equator.
Boom.
Yes.
Wow, that's good. This is on the equator line.
And the equator line. The great.
So what is it called when you're standing on the equator? Where are we?
No, we are the equator where you weigh 3% less. The body weight is less by 3%.
This is the equator.
Oh my God.
It's now moving. It just stands. Yeah.
What's the magic?
No, it's less.
What's the magic, boss?
This is the science our ancestors knew hundreds and thousands of years ago. Yes. Indeed. Yes. So as we see, the energy or spirit of the north and the south torrid zone move clockwise and anti-clockwise, which will affect, again, in my view, okay, the Africans who live close to the equator dualistically. The Ethiopians who move from one area south and settle to another area north of the equator will be subjected to the energy or spirit movement of the forces of nature, thus creating a view of life through thousands of years of evolution, which is wholesome and harmonious, and an inborn ability to understand both sides of the coin instantly, and find the blessed middle way of harmony and justice, just like the exact point of the great cosmic equator. Yes. The Ethiopian or the Africans see the good and the bad of an event or a thing instantly, and will take his or her time to deliberate a response which might be mistakenly taken as confused mind, childish mind, by the foreign invaders or missionaries who pronounce him subhuman and her view to be laughed at. Again, to illustrate the above point, let us look at an old Ethiopian folklore that we must develop into science that goes like this. Once upon a time, two sisters were engaged in argument and great fight, causing destruction and mayhem in the village. The old sister, which is ignorance, were arguing with a younger sister. The older sister, which was the name is ignorance, were arguing with a younger sister named wisdom. The violent argument between the two sisters were about who is the most prettiest between them two. The older sister claimed she is the most pretty and was created first, that will give her the claim to be respected above her younger sister, who came.
After.
Okay, I'm the oldest, I'm the prettiest, and I'm ignorant, and you wisdom, no, I'm the prettiest, and wisdom was saying, no, even though I came up after you, I'm still the prettiest, So they were fighting in chaos, So, yes, the argument and destruction went on until finally they were brought in the presence of an Ethiopian god, a sage, who looked at both sisters and instantly knew they were opposite of each other. One is old, the other is young. The older sister is ignorance, and the younger sister is wisdom. And yet, he had to give them his answer. After taking his time to think about it, the sage said, in order for him to know who is the most prettiest among the two ladies, he needed to see them walk. So, and then he said to them, "Let me see you walk from here to that tree," you know. So they walked farther away from him. They turned around and they walked all the way to that tree. And he said, okay, turn around, and come toward me now. So the two sisters, of course, you know, they put their best walk, you know, yeah, to impress the sage, so they did their best walk, and they asked them, and who is it? Who's the winner? And as they approached the wise sage, they were anxious and ready to find out who is the most prettiest. The wise Ethiopian sage said to the older sister, ignorance, that she looked pretty going away from him, and told the younger sister, wisdom, she was pretty coming toward him. And thus both sisters went away from the sage fully happy, fully feeling pretty and winners. So the science is good when ignorance leaves us, and it's good when wisdom comes to us. And especially the young, the first 28 years of the human, the brain does not develop, the frontal lobe of the brain does not develop, so it's bound to do, you know, young, chaos, ignorant stuff. And wisdom comes later on in a man's life, you know. Later on with age and stuff, and once the brain, the frontal lobe, start to develop, he starts to be wise and wise later on. So that was, so the science is definitely science to it, all right? And we need to develop it and explain it in the future. The above point was also pointed out by our Fahami Prophet Catechism titled Prosperity. This dualistic logic is explained by a question of Fahami student initiates who asked the Holy Fahami Prophet, why doesn't God kill the devil? The two opposite, God and the devil. And the question that was asked for him was, why does God kill the devil? And he finished. And the Fahami answers, because it's only by the devil they understand. Yes, it's because by the devil that the good is known by us. The true, the wise, the powerful, and the faithful are tried. We could not say such and such a one is good unless we could compare him or her with such and such a one who was bad. So true is the good, the God of love, and false, the false God is the devil. So those two opposites that needed, all right? And even like I said with my presentation, that energy movement above the equator in our area will affect us. Again, the logic of the darker races, the Ethiopians, is also expressed in our Fahami creed, where we say God is here to serve man, and man is here to serve God, and they both are partners. One needs to complete it, to make it wholesome and useful. The African sages teach both good and evil are used by God to bring creation toward perfection. And man is that God who has that wisdom, was given that divine intelligence, who can turn evil into good and make it useful for himself and other creatures. Like fire and water are opposites, but man can use fire to boil the water and make it useful as tea. or the snake bite is deadly, but man God can turn into a medicine. Alright? This dual logic was also explained by our enlightened Fahmi prophet of Amun-Ra, that there are but two possible functions of logic, hearing from Sheikh Amsi's literature. One is the cerebral and the other is vital. The act of reasoning, which is logic, implies understanding. Vital logic is the understanding of genesis, or the generations of essence of a material form. And the cerebral logic is the genesis of consciousness, or the soul. Again, we see the Ethiopian natural dual logic and philosophy of life. This give and take habit that has not been acquired or adopted. This mild nature, our inborn natural quality. This give and take nature is also lived naturally by the Africans throughout his daily life. The indigenous African throughout the torrid zones that build the earth lives in harmony with nature and her environment and give back to nature what she takes out from the Mother Earth. For example, when the Ethiopian kills an animal for food, he pours the blood of the kill back to the earth to give back the life he took for his family. And those who adopted or acquired this custom from the indigenous African call it halal meat or kosher product. That's what it is. When they say it's halal or when they say it's kosher, what they do is after they sacrifice the animal, they give the blood back to the earth. And they call that ritual halal or kosher. You know? Or as halal meat. That means the blood has been poured back to the earth, right? Or the cattle, or the sheep, or goat. When the indigenous African cuts the tree, he first asks permission from the spirit of the forest to do so. Okay? The indigenous Ethiopian is aware of the interconnectedness reality of the unseen spirit that moves through all things and tries her best to live with it in harmony till this day. In conclusion, our Fahami Isis il-Aman, Islam science inform us that the geographical foundation of the Ethiopians throughout the torrid zones and under the north and south tropics that built the earth give them unique inborn ability due to the great outpouring of the solar intelligence. That spirit of God, the sun, and the great force that animates the solar intelligence and maintains its power at a constant level. Yeah. The solar intelligence is a dynamo reservoir of power. It is the duty of the sons and daughters of the sun, the Ethiopians, to identify the many kinds of intelligence and power emanating from the sun and to learn to employ them in the creation and control of our civilization and culture. When properly understood and employed, the Africans will again create structures such as the pyramids, but in modern form and for modern usage. We will again build structures that time and the element failed to destroy. And according to the words of the Holy Fahmi Ra Rasul, may he live like rock forever, we will again, and I quote, we will again build structures that harmonize with nature and draw their power from her, as the structure built by the Creator, which is man, must also do. And one great spiritual quality we must use to our advantage, coming from the great solar intelligence, is the power called love, L-O-V-E. And we all know the material advantage the world is drawing from the solar panels to satisfy our physical energy need. Right now the whole world is using solar panel and use that sun energy physically to help their nations. But the spiritual sun bring out joyful and loving attitude in people throughout the earth. When the sun is out, the Ethiopian is all smile and joyful. And when the winter and gloom comes, people of the earth are sad and less joyful. We must learn to use this energy called L-O-V-E, coming from our sun, to fuel our creativity in solving the race's current problems through living in harmony with the law of the sun. As our holy Fahami prophet of Amun-Ra revealed to the Ethiopians that, and I quote, "Everything we get comes from the sun. Do not be discouraged when you cannot see the sun at night. It is shining and working just the same. It never sleeps, and its power is always the same. The law of God, the great hermetic law, the law of nature, it is all the law of the sun." Fahami takraban gan.